Hello everyone, welcome to our video on the full moon in Capricorn that takes place on the 3rd of July 2023 at 7:38 a.m.
Yep.
So for those of you that are new to our channels, I'm Emmeline Muldoon and I'm here with Jim Delacoli.
Hi everyone.
And we get together to do a video twice a month on the lunations, so the new moon and the full moon. So it's a good time to look at what's going on with astrology and talk about how that moon is affecting us, you, everyone, and how we can work with that energy. So that is Eastern Standard Time, the time I just gave you. So convert it to your time zone to see when that full moon in Capricorn is going to take place for you in your time zone. So I'm just sharing the chart here so you can all see the chart for that full moon energy. When you've got the full moon, you have the sun and moon opposite each other. So that's a good way to know you're looking at a full moon chart, because they will be in opposition.
Yes.
And that's what you can see there. And the moon is there in Capricorn. So this is we were just talking about Capricorn before this video started, because my son, my SON, he has a Capricorn rising. So we were just talking a bit about Capricorn energy, and it is it's very practical. It can be a very practical energy, and you know, full moons are an emotional time anyway, and I think that sometimes people think that Capricorn is not an emotional energy, but it is. I have a Capricorn sun, SON. I know about how emotional he is and how the sign can operate. And so don't be fooled by thinking, oh, it's a full moon, it won't be as emotional because it's in Capricorn, because Capricorns sometimes don't maybe show their emotions in the same way that other signs might, but they certainly are emotional.
Yes. And I'm just going to remind you, it's 11 degrees Capricorn. Find that. It's full, so action time, endings of whatever scenario. So find the house, find 11 degrees that Capricorn falls in your chart, and know that action can be taken here to end things or to complete them if it's not ending, to complete them. And the moon doesn't do well in Capricorn, as it rules Cancer. Shouldn't say it doesn't do well. It's the opposite sign of its ruler. And so this is where you want to bring your instinctual side with that Capricornian side, which is your ability to understand the physical world as you've come to know it in this form, in this body. So your instincts are going to want to work here, but also you got to assess. So a lot of aha moments are capable of happening here, and it's going to be up to you to figure it out.
Yeah. And that moon is being hit with a few aspects here, one of them being Jupiter with that trine up to it. So when you get Jupiter and a moon come together in a chart, and the moon's when you're usually looking at astrology, it's moving along every couple of days. So the moon making an aspect to your chart, it might not be sort of as important really. But when you look at a snapshot, a birth chart, or a chart for a full moon, and you see that the moon is making a trine to Jupiter, it is important, because it's bringing out those energies in this situation, in the person. So when you've got those two coming together, Jupiter magnifies that energy as well. So you've got this full moon is being made bigger in some way. So that's also important to think about how that is affecting us, but also what it's doing as well, which I think is nice, because Jupiter moon trine is a very sort of compassionate energy. it's a very generous, it's a very giving. So you might find yourself being drawn towards charitable causes, or wanting to help, or wanting to be, you know, feeling like you're being compelled to help in some way, or that people maybe approach you, or maybe someone helps you, maybe someone's kind and compassionate towards you in some way. There is that element that comes out when you've got that, the Jupiter moon.
Yeah, and I'll just add they're both in earth signs. So but the moon is water ruled and Jupiter is fire ruled. So think of how you can take the alchemy and then the water elements, break it down, and then take the alchemy of fire to make it into something greater. But you can actually put it into application here onto this world. So maybe it's by figuring out the lies or the untruths to then you better position yourself in this world, or maybe you make the world better by figuring out to a deeper perspective and then taking this nice trine, this aspect, and then create something from this that can be extremely beneficial here as time unfolds on the physical plane.
Yeah. And with this moon as well, obviously it's opposite the sun, but that sun is next to Mercury. So Mercury's in this picture. Now Mercury is interesting because sometimes he can be they known as the trickster. So it's maybe like checking the information or checking things twice that come up in some way, because he is right there with the sun. But what he does when he's hanging out with the sun is he really puts a focus on your thinking, your communication, how you interact, how you meet with other people, maybe like being sociable or in some way. Our communication is very strong. So that's a real asset in this full moon chart, is that we're able to pull in and use those communication skills that we have, or they'll be strengthened with this chart. And also it could be good for things like negotiating, you know, like having to use your words and find a way to let them help you.
And don't miss that you can, all that's perfect. Don't miss that you'll be able to remember the sun is the giver of light, so you can then see. So maybe you're going to see some things that you haven't been able to see, and figure it out how maybe you'll communicate to others, or they'll communicate to you. So don't miss that. Huge opportunity for that as well.
Yeah. So think about how you can maybe focus on your thinking in some way. You know what's interesting with this Capricorn full moon is we've had such a Capricorn focus over the last sort of few years, haven't we, with the COVID aspect, is what I like to call it. You know, when we had the Saturn Pluto meet up in Capricorn, and then we've had Capricorn hanging around at 29 degrees for the past year. So we've had this huge emphasis on what is crumbling away, what needs to go in that Capricorn part of your life. Look back to 2008 when it all started off with Pluto moving into that area. So you might be thinking, gosh, whatever that part of my life is, it's really sort of coming up in an emotional way with this full moon. Or it could even be a way in which we're thinking, I'm ready to be done with it now. Like I feel like you know, there's almost like a peace with the release that can come with a full moon as well, which is really nice. It's like, okay, I've made my peace now. It has to go. You might have been clinging on to it because Pluto does that, but now it's this full moon might give us some clarity that makes us want to say, I'm done.
Absolutely. And then we talked a little bit before we turned it on. I really think the truth about value systems, you can throw whatever you want in there. I don't care, money, whatever. But it is being called out to a varying degree. So I do think that we've come to an end of a value system, and this is the beginning of a new one. So you might want to see what worked in the past. You might want to see what maybe is going to be beneficial that we could use working in the future with where we are as a civilization, and look at this as a big turning point. I think the third is going to be a little more powerful than you think. And they might not say it then, but when we look back, we'll find out that around here, a lot of things got revealed or potentially revealed to move forward. So I think this money thing is going to be big as well.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely all that Capricorn stuff that we talk about in other videos, you know, corporations, top-down power, so, you know, governing officials in the minority ruling the majority. All that stuff is really coming up to be reevaluated in some way, and see how comfortable we are with those hierarchies that we've become accustomed to over the last just 2,000 years, really. You know, you think about how those shifts are coming along in some ways. We've already seen a little bit of that, but we might see some more of those coming up.
And then adding to that, I think that this is just a continuation of, you've been waking up from within, you've been finding yourself. Start testing that with what maybe has been taught in society, and question that if you need, or enhance those around you with what you've figured out based on getting after who you are, finding yourself more and more. That because the truth's coming, and Pluto going into Aquarius eventually, but still late in Capricorn. You're kind of revealing that which is true and that which isn't true, that which makes sense and that which doesn't make sense. This moon's going to be a huge opportunity there for you to continue this process, because as you change, you'll get different results. So prepare yourself.
Yeah, and don't go back to the things that you've been doing that you don't want to do anymore, that you've been trying to resist. I think that's going to come up in a big way over the next few weeks, the next few months, with this Capricorn energy, and sort of saying, you know, I'm just going to go back to what I know, or go back to what I'm comfortable doing in some way. This is the time to break free from doing the stuff that you've not enjoyed, or the things that you've been banging your head against the wall saying, it doesn't feel right to me. You know, maybe this Capricorn stuff is in your 6th house of your work, and you've been trying to break free from a profession or a career in some way that you haven't been happy in. You know, this you might feel so unsettled during this energy that you're like, I want to go back to it because it's safe. But this is the time to think about, okay, I'm done, I'm breaking away, I'm going to try what I want, and try what I want to do, you know.
I guarantee you this, if you go back, you're going to get the results you've already gotten. And this time and where we're at is to go get new results, improved or more in line with who you are from within. We've stopped the process. I think the majority of people watching this and they're following and really digging deep has stopped trying to match their people around them. Like, you know, oh, they have this, I need to get it. This is what they're doing, I need to do that. So the herding type thing is ending to the ones that are truly awakening, and the spiritual ones. I feel like everybody watches this or in that group. Exactly as Emmeline said, you can go back to that, but I think you're evolved enough now that you're realizing you've got to move more in the direction of you. When you do that, you're going to get results that are going to be amazing. That is what's coming, and I don't want to go into details, but where we are headed is going to be to such a place that is only imagined, I think, at this point. But it is coming, and it is in front of us. We just have to continue our part where we're working from within. And this is a huge moon for that.
Yeah, it is. And I think that sometimes people feel safety in what they know already. So that's why I was like, oh, maybe they're going to want to go back into their comfort of knowing, I know. It's almost like you think about the South Node, the North Node, going back to the South Node sometimes when you feel you've been out of your comfort zone trying to push towards your North Node. But this is the time to push towards the North Node. This is to your destiny, to your path, to where you're meant to be going, to what you're here to learn about. It's really a really good time for that. And you know, the nodes are really strong in this chart because the Pluto is squaring those nodes. So this is almost like screaming at everyone. There needs to be a breakthrough for us to really figure out you know, what it is that we no longer need. what we want to shift here and how we want to transform. And I was saying this to a client the other day. Sometimes you don't want to change things with Pluto. It's like, I'm quite happy. I don't really want to make the change, but the more you resist, sometimes the harder it is when changes are pretty much inevitable, and there will be some changes coming up with this square, the nodes.
Yeah. And what I can tell you, Pluto in my life, when I became stagnant, lazy, complacent, Pluto changed it for me and I didn't have a choice. Then I got tossed in the abyss and I had to do something. I would much rather, I'm a big karma guy. Anybody that knows me know, I would much rather you do your part here. And if you want to go back, Emily and I are fine with that. If you want to go to what was, we're all fine with that. But if that's karmically good, but this is a huge opportunity to get on your unique path as you move forward. Because with Pluto going to eventually get into Aquarius, you'll see this thing's changing, and it's changing in a tremendous way. So,
yeah, it is, and it's like I said, it's some of these changes are pretty much inevitable. So trying to fight them is it's gonna be like running into trying to think of like when you fight them, is it like running into water? Like you're trying
right.
to through water, you're just not making the progress that you think you're going to. So right.
And I always equate Pluto, the harder you fight, the more you lose. So get ready. Prepare yourself with that.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So
yep.
don't be surprised if you feel like you just want to seek back and comfort in what you know, because the new is okay. With that north node up there, it's pointing us all to a new collective destiny in some way. So
yes,
that's exciting.
Yeah, I think we're, as individuals, we're all putting this all together. And so we all have sources and we all have ideas, and we all need to share those with each other. That's why Emily and I are doing what we're doing. So this is a huge moment for us here. You'll look back at this time and this last spring and this last, from this last winter, and see just how much has changed and how much is going to continue to change. So
Yeah,
get it and be a part of it. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, so don't be upset. I think, I started off this video by saying about emotional overload, because full moons can be a time where we do feel emotional, like children especially can be very in tune with a full moon. Like your children can be very emotional, so look out for that. But just because like we start off by saying it's Capricorn, it might not be as emotional in some ways. We are being triggered by all these changes here that are coming at us. One of the good things about this full moon, I think, is that I like the Jupiter moon aspect. I think that's lovely, but also the Mars being hanging out there with Venus as well. Them two being together is really creative, fertile energy as well. And it's in Leo. So I think that's really interesting. It's fun. It's happy. It's creative. It's wanting us to be playful here. So hold on to that energy as well. Like what are you being triggered or sparked? That's a good word, spark. Mars in Leo. Sort of how you're being what's sparking in your mind, what ideas are popping up for you, because they'll be really interesting to see, because this is creation, fertile energy there in the full moon chart.
Yes.
Yeah, so I like that.
And then if we talked about Saturn trine Sun Mercury, sorry, I'm just going to add one more point. If you do the work from the spiritual side, because this is in water sign, everything's in a water sign, all three of these planets, but they're trying. Do the work. Don't be afraid to speak your part or listen to others or find something new. You'll be amazed at what happens here. So that's why I think we're pretty adamant about, come on, do something here. It's the full moon, yes, but Saturn's trying to help us from the perspective of getting back on our path and learning or teaching with the Sun Mercury aspect here. And we want that. That's all we want. So
Yeah. Well, the other big one in this chart is Uranus,
Yes.
the maverick. Uranus is up here at 21 in Taurus. It's making a square, a very strong square to Venus, but also to Mars because they're hanging out together.
Yep.
So, shocking, unexpected, challenging financial situations that might come up in some way. So we can look at that globally. We can look at that maybe in your own situation, in your own life. Also, Venus is love, beauty, relationships. So this could be some arguments with your relationships as well. Things that have coming out, or things that you have wanted to say to someone close to you that you've been holding in, and now you just can't maybe hold in what you're feeling, and it has to just be said in some way.
Yeah, I tend to not like to rock the boat. I mean, some people say I say what I feel, but I'm using the aspect you just gave and the aspects we talked about. I'm using this to go, how am I going to like finish my life? I'm 57. I got hopefully I got plenty of years. I'm not being morbid, but I'm using this moon, this time to start putting out in my surroundings and in my environment my ideas, what I believe, and I'm not filtering it. I'm just going. So that's why I'm a little more adamant today. I think, Emily, you feel the same way. And I think that this is a wonderful opportunity to let some things totally crumble because they need to, but let's rebuild it. How do we want it rebuilt? That's why we're here. Let's become the masters. We know it. We're capable. Let's not have any fear here. Let's take this and be the masters that we've always been. Now let's apply it on the physical plane. Let's go.
Yeah, so there might be some surprises as well with this.
There'll be some surprises.
Other thing to think about as well is this full moon energy is right there in the 4th of July chart for the US as well. Maybe that's a whole separate video because that would be an interesting one to dissect. But the solar return chart for the US being the 4th of July, this energy is there as well. So
right. I think we kind of said a lot of things that are applicable to the US. So I think we tried to say it without saying it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it will be I think this is going to be an interesting year for the US with all this sort of change and shift going on. So that's good. I mean, a solar return, if those of you that don't know, is so your birthday, your anniversary. I just had my wedding anniversary yesterday. It's time where you look at where the sun was at the chart, in that chart where you were born, or where the country was made, or where your anniversary was when you got married, and you get the chart up the same day, you get the sun back to that same position, and you look, then you've got that chart that gives you the map for the year ahead. So that's why it's sort of, we say as astrologers, it's good to get a reading consultation done around those, your birthday or something like that, because you can get that chart ahead. It's called your solar return chart for the year. So that's what we're referring to. And we're like, 4th of July. So that's coming up. So happy 4th of July, everyone. Hope you have a lovely time with the celebrations, fireworks, barbecues. We should be doing some fireworks. Are you having fun on the 4th of July, Jim?
Yeah, having my kids over, they like fireworks, and I'm gonna throw some ribs on the grill. So
Oh, nice. Yep. Barbecue, fireworks. We'll be seeing some fireworks here as well. So
good.
That'll be fun.
Yes. Well, happy 4th. Emily, thank you as always.
Yes, thank you. It was lovely to get together. I think we've done all the points here, haven't we? I was just thinking we
have. Yeah, we did it in a unique way. Hopefully it resonates with people. We appreciate all the support as always. Don't hesitate to comment. I'll make sure in the links I put both of our information on my page, and Emmeline always does on hers. So if you have questions or whatever, don't hesitate.
Yeah, and we'll see you again when we do the new moon video next in 2 weeks' time. So stay tuned for that.
Don't forget the class. I forgot about that.
Oh yes, that's true.
Sunday at 6. Yes.
With this full moon energy, we'll be doing a class on the full moon, so that'll be interesting. What sort of reveals itself? Sunday, 2nd of July, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Jim and I will get together. You can get a ticket from Eventbrite. there's a link on my website, which is big3astrology.com. 3 is spelt out. You can go onto there, get a link to buy a ticket, and then we meet up via Zoom and we go over the month ahead, the astrology, what's going on. And then if you want us to, we can have a look at your chart and see if it's being, if there's any transits that are being activated and so forth. So if you're interested in that, grab a ticket. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah, and I'll put the links that Emmeline just referred to on my page as well, so you'll have it.
Yep.
We look forward to seeing you. We've had the last few have been really good, so I've enjoyed it. It's good to get to know people more.
Yeah,
because you're giving the energies back to us. I enjoy the heck out of that, so it's been good to know a few of you. So
yeah, it's been always fun doing those classes.
Yeah.
It's also a good way to learn about astrology as well, because you don't have to know about astrology to do the class, but when you're in these workshops, you know, you pick up bits, so it's good.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Emmeline. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Bye.